So as we kind of continue to talk about relative topics that do with the spring and the summer, we're talking about flowers, right? I bet you're cutting your grass a little bit more often than you used to. And some of that comes with native plants. Now, some people may or may not care, but just in case you don't give a jam, I'm going to give you some great information in regards to benefits to these native plants. You'll understand what I said right there in just a minute. So joining the Splash Live right now to give us some information, West Bloomfield resident as well as author and illustrator, we have Sally Wenczel joining the Splash Live to tell us a little bit more about the fun and unique uses for native plants. Thank you for joining us, Sally.
Hi, good morning. Thank you. I decided to be outside today. I thought it was fitting, you know.
I know, right? I know, right? Great setting for the topic that we're talking about right now. These native plants, can I just set the scene? First and foremost, me and Tyler talked about this topic maybe earlier in the week or whatever the case may be. My first thought with native plants were like dandelions and the little things that you pick up that you blow and the little things go everywhere. Now, I believe those are weeds, but I thought those were like native plants also. Can you just tell us, are those native plants, and what are native plants here in Michigan?
Okay, well, just to kind of switch it around, I'm talking about just wild plants in general.
Okay.
So you got your native plants, and then you've just got your wild plants that are growing all around you in your habitat. So we do have, just to plug, we've got a native plant sale for West Bloomfield Parks coming up this weekend, and pre-order is happening right now.
Nice.
Register, get your plants right now. So those are all completely native from the Great Lakes region, we'll say from Michigan. But what I am focusing on is really just foraging the plants that are available in your yard, in your habitat. And they aren't all native. Dandelion was actually brought here in the 1600s from the Europeans. So it was like a Eurasian medicinal plant. They brought it here for a reason, because it is a medicine plant. They put it in their gardens because they wanted it. And I'll tell you, dandelion, every part of that plant is a healthy, is medicinal. You got the taproot that is dried and made into tea. You got the leaves that you can eat that are full of calcium and iron, and then the flowers, like pictured right there, that I made into dandelion jelly this year. And I gave one to Dave Scott yesterday, I think. Delicious, really delicious. It's a way to get the kids interested in the plants that are growing around them. But yeah, dandelion, here's the thing. So my daughter, I was talking to her about this. She said, well, Mom, what is a weed? What is the definition of a weed? I said, well, let's look it up. And this is kind of funny. So dictionary.com says a weed is a valueless plant growing wild on cultivated ground that will injure a desired crop. And the thing is, the desired crop around the suburbs is turf grass. And it's really not a crop, but we treat it as such.
Right.
We want to get rid of these dandelions because they're, obnoxious. So it's any undesirable or troublesome plant. But I want to change that definition.
Right, please.
I would like to change that definition. So I'm teaching a class coming up a week from today. It's called, what do we call it? Your Natural Edible Yard Unlawning. And I'm going to talk about the different types of plants. I have a whole bunch here on my table with me. Besides dandelion, and everybody gets a jar of dandelion jelly. All the students who take the class get to take one home, plus we're going to be sampling it in class. So we've got, this one is a weed.
Okay.
This is called ground ivy, and it's got a beautiful purple flower. Oh, people just hate this stuff because it takes over their precious cultivated crop.
Right.
That is a lawn, that is turf grass, that doesn't do anything for the environment. But this was, in the old days, this is one of the first things to come up in the spring, and they would use this to make beer or mead, because it's really got this pungent kind of minty, it's in the mint family. And if you eat it, I'll show you right here, eat it for you.
Oh, she's eating it.
Yeah.
Oh, she's eating it. She's ate it.
So it's got this fresh minty aroma, and you can see why they would want to add it to like a spirit, to when they're coming out of their hibernation all winter. This is one of the first things that they would eat, like wake up.
Whoa.
You want me to keep going? I got more.
No. Okay, so I got. Oh my goodness, there's a lot going on. Yeah. No. What is that? Okay, so if you're watching on Civic Center TV, you can see the plants. Continue, Sally, please.
Okay, so this is called Dock, D-O-C-K. Now, Doc, this is a native, and there's this. Here's the baby one. You want to eat this one? Gonna do it for you. Ready? This
Oh
one
my
is
goodness, she's
loaded,
eating it.
loaded with vitamin C. I just
Right.
picked this out of my yard this morning. Loaded with vitamin C. It's like um, it's got a lot of oxalates in it though. Like if you eat too much, like kale, if you're just eating it every
Oxalates.
day,
Mm-hmm.
oxalates they'll form like kidney stones if you eat too much. So just take it easy on the doc. But
Got you.
you
Okay.
know, it's really pump. This is like a superfood right here, the doc.
Okay.
And when you see it growing later in the year, it gets this tall brown stalk. You know, yeah,
That
yeah.
is kind of hard to convince people that dandelions and the other plants that you've shown that most people consider weeds, it's very hard to change their mindset to make them believe this is edible. You literally just ate them live on the Splash Live
Okay.
on Civic Center TV. And we even have more. Please continue.
Okay. So this, you probably recognize this, and they'll start selling this in the stores in the spring. This is a dandelion leaf. And
Uh,
this is your typical, this is a nice big one that I picked on the side of the yard. It was growing kind of in the shade in
mm-hmm.
some loose soil. So these dandelion leaves, again, packed full of calcium, iron, and here's what the dandelion does. It's a really smart plant. It drives that taproot really deep down to pump up the minerals from deep in the soil into these leaves. So when you put it in your salad,
She's eating
you
it,
put it
ladies and
in
gentlemen.
salad or your stir fry or
Mm-hmm.
your eggs in the morning. Um, it's a little bitter, but once you eat it and you realize how good these plants make you feel, it's
Mm.
almost like clear. It's like
Yeah.
clears the brain fog. It clears the brain fog away,
Mm.
and you feel in the springtime you're just eating fistful of these things. So,
Sally,
um,
that's a whole nother level of veganism that I don't think most people are even
oh, I'm not a
ready for
vegan.
right now.
I'm
That's
not a
beyond.
vegan.
I know that's
I'm
going
a hunter
beyond it.
gatherer.
Right. I love it. Hey,
I'm a
but
hunter gatherer.
right now, join us on the Splash Live, giving us some great information about the fun and unique uses for our native plants and wildflowers and wild plants or weeds, whatever you want to call them here in Michigan. West Bloomfield resident as well as author and illustrator Sally Wenczel joining us to talk about different uses, and I also have some of your dandelion jelly right here. Just gave it a
Oh, okay.
smell live on the Splash. It smells so fresh. That's the first thing that comes. It
Good.
smells so native and
Put it
fresh. I can't wait to
on some
try it.
toast with a little butter or some
Mm-hmm.
biscuits.
Yeah.
So good.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna have to get to that eventually. So let's get to the process of making
Mhm.
this jam. And this is technically jelly, right? Let's get to the
Jelly, yeah.
process of making this from dandelions. Can you explain that? Just the simplest process.
Oh, sure. So what I'm going to teach in the class is just a simple recipe, and you can YouTube this, and there are so many videos of these ladies in their kitchens just teaching you how to do this stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
they're really fun to watch. And I found one that I really liked. So you are going to go out and pick your jar, like a quart jar full of dandelions first, about a quart, like this big.
Mm-hmm.
Fill it up. Then this is the hard part now. You got to take all the yellow flower parts off the green. And that's going to take a while. So put on a Netflix, put
Yep.
on
She
some
loves me.
music,
She loves me not. Just
and
yep.
you just sit
Ridiculous.
there
Yeah.
and you take some time. But and I'm thinking the pioneers did this.
Mm-hmm.
People did this. This is good for me. Like meditate. You just get it done. Once you separate all that, then you're going to put it in. Put some boiling water over those petals, and you make a tea out of it. You let it sit overnight. You don't have to let it sit overnight. I do to get more flavor.
Right.
So once you get that tea, then you're going to strain it out, strain all the flower parts out with a cheesecloth. If you don't have cheesecloth, use a t-shirt. Use some kind of fabric. Squeeze all that good medicinal juice out of there, and then you're going to put it on your stove. Add the sugar. You got to add the sugar. I mean, a lot of people they don't like the sugar, but you can't make good jelly without some kind of sweetener.
Uh-huh.
So I use the sugar recipe. It just works.
Okay.
And then you add your fruit pectin, which is going to make the jelly. But the whole canning process, if you're going to can and preserve it long term, you need to make sure you sanitize your jars, boil them so you're getting all the bacteria out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Very clean process. Boil the jars. Get a good, big, huge pot. My mom gave me mine. It sat in my basement for 10 years. I finally used it. So, you got to get some supplies. There it is. Um, get your big, they call it a canning bath. So you're giving your jars a bath for about 10 minutes. You just boil them for 10 minutes. And then that little pop sound,
Right.
when the jar pops, when you take them out of there, they all pop, 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 pop. They start sealing. And then you're good to go. Then you can give them away as gifts or keep them for yourself.
Nice.
It's fun.
Some
It's fun.
fresh dandelion jelly straight from the yard. Now that is a cool thing to do right there, Sally. Okay, so let's just do this right now. So overall from this conversation I've gotten that there are benefits and different uses that we can have for these native plants, these wild plants or weeds, what people call dandelions, et cetera, that you just shown. But
Troublesome plants.
troublesome plants, right? They're not there to cause trouble. But the point is, for the average person listening, they say, okay, so I can make jelly, I can do jam, and I can eat them, this, et cetera, et cetera. How can we really make a determination between what is edible, what is beneficial, and what is something that's harmful to us also? I'm gonna be honest. I'm from the generation of thinking like a Pokédex. I know that doesn't exist. Okay, there you go. Please promote. Please continue.
Yes, yes. So this is one book I recommend, and this will help you properly identify. And that is one thing you got to be 100%, 1,000% sure
Right.
that what you're eating is, in fact, what you think you're eating, what you want to be eating, that edible plant. So this is a really great book. Another one I recommend, this is written by a Native American professor. This one is excellent. Plants have so much to give us. All we have to do is ask. And it goes into a little bit of the folklore, and she goes into some storytelling about the plants, and there's lots of recipes in here. One that I really want to try, they do breaded dandelion flowers with cornmeal, and then you fry them up, little treats. Really great book here. Here's one more. This one is, I lost the cover to it. The geese are honking. You hear them? This is called Eating on the Wild Side. So this one really explains a lot about why the geese are so loud. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Quiet down. So this one explains how over time we have cultivated plants and they've become less and less nutritious. For one, because of the food mile. The food mile is like they're shipped from 1,000 miles away, and every hour that they're in that truck or being shipped in that box, they're losing nutrition. Wow. So phytonutrients, which is just another name for plant nutrients, are the strongest and most powerful and good for your body for the less time they come out of the soil, so you put it in your mouth.
Gotcha.
So just to put in perspective, like you see those carrots in the grocery store with the green tops on them, and they're dirty. They're like real carrots. Those are the ones you want to buy because they have the most nutrition. You don't want to buy those little cut up nubs in the plastic bag.
Right.
So just for example, like the fresher, the better.
Absolutely. Great ways to take advantage. Pay attention to the food that you consume too, especially the fresh fruits and vegetables like Sally just explained. Thank you so much again for your time, Sally. And once again, before we go, native plant sale going on and with the classes that you're teaching, just give out more information, please.
Sure will. So the West Bloomfield Park's native plant sale is this weekend. The pickup is at Marshbank Park. Did I write this down? Saturday, May 18th, 9 to 12, Marshbank Park. But you have to pre-order now online. So go online, search West Bloomfield Park's native plants. I think a big email went out to everybody recently.
Right.
My class, you can also register for online. You can also call if you're more comfortable calling to register that way. And I'd love to have you, and we can discuss more. We're going to discuss how to make bee sting salve out of plantain. We're going to have those spring rolls pictured there. A little feast at the end of the presentation. So I'd love to.
Well, thank you again so much. We appreciate it. West Bloomfield resident, author, and illustrator Sally Wenczel joining the Splash Live, telling us about native plants and the native plant sale. We appreciate you for your time, Sally.
Thank you so much.